What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for mass manufacturing on Part and Parcel. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Part and Parcel is the map where we have to break boxes to collect parts. When we get enough, General Davis opens the hybrid and then dies to it. We then have to destroy the hybrids for her before running out of time to win the game. Void rifts spawn every 90 seconds. Each one produces enemies non-stop that attack your base until destroyed. The more rifts active, the more enemies sent. Propagators spawn from enemy buildings. If they touch any of your things, they instantly eat the thing and creates more of itself.
Okay, so Twotuuu and Eveling are in the call with us today. How are you guys?
Great.
So in case I die sometime between tomorrow and when this video releases, I want my wife to inherit my channel. This because I drank soap. I'm not sure how poisonous the soap is, but I drank it out of a water bottle that was clean, but apparently was not rinsed. So there you go. Anyway, how will we rank the commanders this week, Twotuuu?
This week is basically Void Rifts on steroids. So, well, the enemies aren't stronger, but it's a multitasking mutator with another multitasking mutator. So yeah, it's basically Void Rifts and a little bit of how you deal with props.
Okay, how about you, Eveling?
That is the perfect way to put it. If you can, enemies are not stronger. If you can deal with Void Rifts well, if you can deal with Propagators and have like the attention span to also look at the mission, then definitely you'll get higher scores. If you can't deal with either two in a good way, then you're definitely going to be on the lower tier of the spectrum. The major point is Void Rifts. It puts the timer on you very early. So if you can react, getting everything up early, then you'll be okay.
Okay, so let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
Abathur, he's good against props. No, he's good against Void Rifts. And against props, you can use Brutalists to use you can like walk and attack. You can attack the props while walking with Brutalists. So as long as you're not careless, your Brutalists shouldn't get eaten by any props. Later on, you have Vipers, Guardians, and Ravagers if you want. I don't recommend using Swarm Hosts because they might get eaten. But yeah, so
replace might with will.
The Locusts will get eaten by props, and then you'll cause a lot of trouble. I would say that Abathur is A.
How about you, Eveling?
Yeah, I have Abathur to A to B. He handles Void Rifts very well. Propagators are a little bit of a problem. You can go with P2 in order to get that extra bit of mobility conferred onto Roaches and Ravagers and Swarm Hosts. It's Propagators. We've experienced Pikey Farm before, so you could try that route and kill your FPS to a frightening degree while having a huge army of Propagators constantly looking at you. And if you do it right, then you may come out up ahead, but that's a real risky business, especially with a random ally in the mix.
Speaking of Pikai, it's been years and years since he last did a video with me. Like maybe more than a year now. I don't know if he still plays StarCraft 2 co-op. But anyway,
He's still around.
Extra gas cost... Oh, so he just doesn't want to play with me. Does the extra gas cost of the second prestige warrant using it despite, the extra gas cost? Or does the extra power of the second prestige warrant the extra gas cost for this mutation?
Having extra deep tunnels around is a nice thing, in my opinion. It depends if you want to go Guardians. But even teching up to Guardians is pretty gas intensive. So if you do intend to go Guardians, then opt for non-P2, P0 most likely.
Okay.
Sorry, Twotuuu Europe say.
Guardians are far superior to Roach Ravager because there's a lot less work. Because later on, for any commander, you want an auto prop killing area. Like you can't really pay attention to everything that goes on later on.
Yes.
Because there are so many rifts and like 4 props at the same time. So you should have some kind of like defense where you can kill props without looking at your base. And
yes,
for Abathur, that's Toxic Nest plus Guardians.
All right.
So yeah.
Anyway, both of you said A. Let's put them in A. I don't think prestiges are good for Abathur this game. I would rather have no prestige because he needs the gas. He needs the ultimate evolutions and he needs to get them in a timely fashion. Alarak, where do we have him?
Alarak, I have from B to C. The one thing that we haven't mentioned yet, Propagators come from buildings. So Alarak is known for a good speed clear. If you can clear, there's a good amount of buildings on the map, but it can be done. The quicker you speed clear, the further you push the props back, and thus it becomes less of a danger to you. Void Rifts are still a very imminent danger, so Alarak, he's gonna have a little hard time getting from especially when the Void Rifts start going in deep into the map. Your best bet is trying to sneak a warp prism to there, and then either teleporting onto the warp prism, your mothership, or just photon overcharge. B2C, P3.
How about you, Twotuuu?
He's good against props. Later on, you probably want like Wrathwalkers standing at home because it's less work. As for rifts, destroyer hit squads, they're good, but then if you're near a prop and you're not paying attention, they're all gonna die because they can't deal enough damage quickly to the prop to actually kill it. So yeah, Alarak not very good against rifts, especially the far ones in the deep areas, because you're gonna need like the mothership only, and if you're not careful, the mothership's gonna get eaten.
Right.
And for I guess it's good to note that in the mid game, props spawn around 28 seconds. So like every minute, starting from like
9:28,
9:30, then 10:30, yeah. And Void Rifts, they sometimes spawn at like the 20-second mark. So like if it's 11:20, then 8 seconds later a prop will spawn. So if you're not sure and you're trying to go after a rift, a prop might spawn from or near that rift that you're trying to kill, and you might lose stuff. So yeah, I put Alarak in C.
Okay, both of you guys had him in C. Let's put him in C. We recommend the third prestige, right? Shadow of Death.
Only the third prestige.
Only the third prestige. Let's move on. Arcturus, where do we have him?
Manx he's decent against rifts. He's decent against props as well. He has the tools. It does require a lot of work. So his bunkers are what makes him good against rifts. Not necessarily clearing them, but then like surviving against the trickles. And then you can drop troopers and then just arm them and explode. If you're near, you can drop the troopers anywhere. And then later on, you'll have like little hit squads of armed troopers killing rifts, and you can clear the map with a few ESOs in the center. Against props, you will add like a tank or an Aegis guard near your natural. Yeah, so I put him in A.
A. Okay. How about you, Eviling?
Yeah, I have Arcturus A to B. He has the ability to drop pod anywhere on the map and make essentially drop pod of a baneling with a gun. If you see an area in the map that you could safely drop a bunker near a void rift, drop one there, and if possible, reinforce it with like 2 or 3 more bunkers, because usually how void rifts act, if you can kind of secure the area, there's a good chance the void rift will respawn in that area again. So it's kind of like if you can keep map control, then you can almost be on top of future void rifts.
Yeah.
A to B.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's put him in A. Prestige wise, we want the third one, right?
The third one
Yeah.
only.
Yes.
There's one thing about the bunker strat though, is that
It
props
attracts
go
troops.
after buildings.
Yes.
So
Yep. That's
so
why
if
I
you drop
said-
your bunker in the wrong area, or like if you don't salvage it, they're gonna try to
Destroy
go in
it.
that direction, and one bunker might not be enough to kill a prop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I suggest once you get that one bunker down, try to drop more laborers and build 2 more to reinforce the area.
Sure. All right, let's move on. Artanis, where do we have him?
Artanis, he has with the power field, he can get into, if he can sneak an observer, sneak a Phoenix into a back area, then he can start warping in mass goons or what it needs to take out the void rift. And then if you're using P3, then you can drop Archon dudes, but you need to be ahead of where the void rift may spawn. So you got to set up observers, or either that or have an ally that's getting you vision, because once you go into targeting mode for orbital strikes, you can't do anything else. So if you don't have vision, you're not going to be able to make use of it. But he has tools for dealing with void risks, not elegant, but doable. He has tools to dealing with propagators, again, not elegant, but doable with goons. They got range.
He has blood tools.
Yeah, so B to C.
B to C. How about you, Twotuuu?
I think for Artanis's auto prop defense, you'll probably want goons, but probably later on at your natural, you have some tempests because they can shoot sooner. And you can also disintegrate a prop and just like wait for it to die. Kind of. If you're like if they're I think they should die before they get to your base, and then if not, they're at least gonna be really hurt, and your Tempest will continue to shoot them. For clearing, you have Dragoons, and yeah. For far areas, you can use Orbital Strike P0. I don't think you should use Unbound Fanatics to clear rifts because it's just not
Expensive.
really good.
Yeah.
Artanis also has one extra thing about this map is like if the hybrid is a summoner, he kind of suffers.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's just a map.
Okay.
So that sucks for him. I put him in C because he can do his side, but I don't think he can really carry.
That's fine. Both of you have him in C. Let's put him in C.
I'd like to add that with Tempest, there's a lot of spots on Part and Parcel where you can keep Tempest at. It's unpathable terrain, so definitely make good use of that as kind of like guard points for the Propagators. So Propagators are only ground units, so if they can't go to unpathable terrain, it's just free shots for the Tempest. Okay, sorry, go on.
Okay, prestige-wise, we don't recommend any. No prestige is fine.
0 is probably better.
Okay, Dehaka. Where do we have him?
Dehaka, his pack leaders are immune to props.
Poops.
The spawns from Glevig and stuff are not. So what you can do is you spawn Glevig
In
at
the
home
base.
and then you deep tunnel him out on the field so he can't get eaten or by a prop. Also, you can, if once you have gotten vision of an area, you can use greater primal worms to kill rifts and then deep tunnel them back to your
Base.
natural or somewhere away so they can't get eaten. At your natural, you put like 6 to 8 impalers, and any props that get there will get close will just die. And on offense, you use guardians or mutas or both. And I put him in A.
Okay, how about you, Eveling?
Yeah, I have Dehaka A to B for a lot of the same reasons that Twotuuu has. Your pack leader is immune to it. P2 is usually the go-to for mutations, but in this case, I would say you can try P3 too. I mean, or Dehaka and Suyahaka, you have 2 eats, so if you really need it, and then it's also 2 deep tunnels. So if your multitasking is really up to par, you can have Dehaka on one side, Suyahaka on one side, just watching for props. And again, for P3, the advantage of that is if you really need to have multiple pack leaders out, then that's definitely doable. Whereas P2, you only got one at a time. So again, A to B.
Okay, both of you have an A. Let's put an A. Prestige-wise, we want the second one here? Or do you want, is any prestige fine? Because there are also some strengths of other prestiges. For example, being able to eat 2 poops instead of 1 for a third prestige. Or having multiple pack leaders out in the case of no prestige or first prestige.
I would not use the first one.
Okay.
Because your army's going to be split, but the other ones are all okay.
All fine.
It's 2 or 3, most likely 2 or 3.
Okay, let's move on. Fenix, where do we have him?
Phoenix. So his P2, Caldalis is not going to do too well against Propagators, but his ability to brawl against trickles of Voidrus is really good. So you're going to have to be able to split your champions if you're going to go down the P2 route, which is definitely doable. If you're dealing with props, have Taldaran and Warbringer out, and they're pretty much good, very good for taking care of props. And then after that, just make sure Caldalis is making a line of death all the way back to the Voidrus. He doesn't have a really good way to getting to the deep ones, so it's going to be kind of a slugfest. But it's doable with the Arbiter suit. It's a lot more multitasking, and this is a very multitasking heavy mutator.
How does
I
deal
have
with
him,
poops?
I just said Taldaran and Warbringer.
Okay, letter.
So I have him from B to C, but I wouldn't be reluctant to also say D.
Okay, how about you, Twotuuu?
So this, as Evelyn said, this is the true multitasking trainer, not the previous
one.
one. This is the real one.
The real one.
Yeah, this is a actually good trainer for multitasking. And Phoenix, his style against rifts is basically lone wolf light. You're playing lone wolf, but your outlaws suck compared to the real lone wolf. You're basically putting one champion in like an area to guard it, and then you have Caldalis Talus for clearing, and then most likely Warbringer will be at the natural to get props that go near there. and then you have like Mojo and Kolarian somewhere else. Maybe not even Kolarian, but Kolarian can get rifts that are near your base because props don't go that side. He requires a lot of work to make it work well. He can do it, and it's not that effective compared to like the easier commanders, but he can do it. So I put him in C.
Okay, so both of you are okay with C, so let's put him in C. Prestige-wise, we still prefer the second one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put him in C. Hot and Horner, where do we have him?
On and Horner, they are great against Void Rifts as long as you get the fire upgrade by 7 minutes, which means you get the fusion core by 6 minutes, which means you get the armory before 5 minutes. So that's how it is. So
I
you build the
learned
armory
that
at 450.
apparently it's kind of tricky to time your build properly for Hot and Horner here, for most people, because you sometimes you just kind of think, I need airstrike, so I gotta rush the gas, while forgetting that you need 2 Galleons and at least 2 Hellions for the first 2 rifts. So by prioritizing gas, you don't have enough stuff to fight the first rifts, whereas you actually need to balance it out. You need early game and then transition to the mid part. And I noticed from the games that I play that sometimes people just forget the Galleons and the Hellions. Sometimes they deploy Magmines too early. There are a lot of failure points for Hot and Horny. But yes, if played well, he can do very well against the Void Rifts. Please continue.
Okay, so you don't actually need... You can just kill the first rifts with 1 Galleon and like a Hellion. No, 1 Galleon and 1 SCV, because you drop 2 Magmines on one and 2 on the other.
Yeah.
That's if they're close enough.
If it's close enough. Or if it's far, actually. If it's far, I'd rather just I'd just rather fly the Galleon and then drop the Magmines on top of the rift.
Yeah, if it's far, like, because the first rifts can spawn kind of far on this map. So if they do, you probably just sit back and...
Oh yeah, you can fight them. I had it happen to me. The first rift spawn, in what game I had the rift spawn basically at the first hybrid area. I flew a Galleon at it over the unpathable terrain, then dropped Magmines. Worked really well. That's part of Hot and Horny.
I mean, yeah, you can do that. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, so Han Horner, they're good against Void Rifts, and their tactic against props is Hellions with the slow upgrade.
Yeah.
Tar bomb.
The tar bomb,
which is great. And the problem with Han Horner is that late game they don't have a good auto prop killer.
Yes,
so
that's correct. I noticed that.
You have to keep paying attention to your everything. Otherwise, you might lose some stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if there's also trickles. You have to pay attention. The good thing is that since your rifts are basically free kills, you just need to make sure that your Hellions don't get eaten by props. And for clearing, you don't want to use strike fighters for clearing. I
only
need to make
save.
a guide on this.
Yeah.
There's a very specific way to do this, to use Han and Horner for rifts. The simple explanation is that every rift cycle you use all your strike fighters. So any strike fighters that you don't use, you use it for the objective or clearing an area. So that way every time there's a rift cycle, you have enough to kill all the rifts, and then whatever's left over, then you can use for the objective. That's a simple explanation.
So later,
I put Han Horner in A.
Okay, how about you, Evoling?
Yeah, it's a good day for Han and Horner. I have Han and Horner for A to B. You definitely make good use that your Galleons are flying units, especially for the early rifts. You can sneak them around and go through areas that you shouldn't be able to go through with just ground units. Prioritize getting that tar bomb upgrade for your Hellions early on. If you need to set up a mock static defense, Han and Horner, they need to be making supply depots and extra buildings. You can kind of wall a few Hellions into it and make a pseudo bunker if you really
pseudo bunker.
if you're in danger of being an F2 warrior. And potentially moving them out of place. And the extra buildings around it will cause behavior to propagator. They're going to try to go after the Hellions. So the bunker, the extra depots or buildings will kind of give you a little extra time. On top of tar bomb, it shouldn't break unless you have an attack wave coming in or trickles coming in. That's going to ruin it. But P1, you can actually, I found with Void Risk, P2 is actually pretty good for Void Risk too. So instead of using just pure strike fighters to deal with Void Risk, instead of rushing strike fighters, you rush out your wraiths out first. Get their trigger overcharge upgrade, prioritize it as soon as the armory comes up, and then once you can send them out, drop a pair of wraiths, and pretty much they can take down, one wraith can take down its own void rift, and once you get the tactical jump, you can start going after the real far ones. Yeah, A to B.
Yeah, both of you agree with B. Let's put them in B. I think that airstrikes in general are safer than wraiths.
A, right?
Both, yeah.
Oh, A.
both
Sorry, I apologize. A. I think airstrikes in general are safer than wraiths because they just regenerate and they always have the ability to get really fast to their target. Whereas wraiths, yeah, if you teleport them to the rift, they might have a hard time fighting their way back. Whereas if you fly them to the rift with the intention of teleporting them back, they might get sniped on the way there, especially if the rift is really far away. So I think I would rather recommend airstrikes here instead of wraiths. But if you really like wraiths, then don't let me stop you. Let's put them in A. Iron Horn has 1 prestige, chaotic power couple. Oh, actually, or if you really like wraiths, if you really like wraiths, you can go for wing commanders. Let's move on. Karax, where do we have him?
He has really good ways of dealing with the trickles with his static defense. He kind of like Artanis, or he needs to start setting up a way to see far risks. So you need to really get your robotics bay out and start putting observers all around the place. And once you do that, then you can just solar orbital strike down any risk that you start seeing come up. He has the tools to do it. It takes quite a bit of pre-planning to do it. I have Karax A to B.
How about you, Twotuuu?
If you don't have enough monoliths against the props, you're gonna like end up spamming orbital strikes to not get killed, because you can't kite the props.
Yes.
So that means that you have to kill them before they get to you. And if you can't do that, you're gonna waste energy. And if you waste energy, you won't have enough for rifts early on, because like you don't get Solar Forge 3 until like way later. So and I guess it's like being disciplined with energy uses can be difficult, especially if you're panicking against a prop.
Yeah.
For offense, you basically use observers and you just hit the parts and collect the parts. If you know where the enemy static defenses or detectors are, you can snipe them with Solar Lance or Orbital Strike. Then you can take all the stuff in that area. I put Karax in B.
Okay. So both of you are okay with... Yeah, go ahead.
I want to add on to that. So Karax can kite props, immortals. So Karax's immortals are a very good way to dealing with props, especially once you get their shadow cannon upgrade. So if you survive the initial and you can get to the immortals with shadow cannon, then yeah, that allows you to essentially 1 shadow cannon will kill a prop, or is it 2? I think 2. Or 1 shadow cannon and just some kiting.
They have 450 health.
If you get to that point, you might as well have like the Energizer with monoliths and shoot them down automatically.
Yeah,
that's fair. But you still have to push inwards to collect boxes too. So
I think Twotuuu said he wanted to use observers and Solar Lance. Maybe a couple of guys for that, but that's fine too. Okay, let's put Karax in B. Both of you are okay with B, right?
Yes.
Okay, split him in B. Kerrigan, where do we have him?
Kerrigan. So Kerrigan is normally not very good against rifts, and she's also not very good against props. With rifts, you generally want to use P0 because you want to slide and like be able to move around. But with props, you don't really want to use P0, you use P3. So rifts is actually hard to manage, and one of the ways Kerrigan deals with rifts is massing Omega Worms everywhere. But if you mass Omega Worms everywhere, if you place them everywhere, props will go there instead of your prop defense, which is usually in the center of the map. That means that Kerrigan or your ally will be burdened to like kill the props near Omega Worms or not use Omega Worms at all.
Yeah.
So both of those are
risky,
not really good options. So I put Kerrigan in D.
Ooh, Kerrigan this time. Okay, how about you, Eviling?
Yeah, Kerrigan's ability to deal with both props and void risk. Kerrigan already is hard pressed against void risk because when the first void risk spawns, Kerrigan is not even out yet. So you gotta hold on to your life. in order to just survive the first 2 minutes of the game.
Even the first poop, actually. The first poop spawns when Kerrigan is not out yet. I think it's 328 for the first poop.
Yeah,
Kerrigan's
and-
spawns
walk
at
to your
4.
base, she'll be out though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beside the point. But anyway, please continue.
Yeah, I have Kerrigan CDD, recommending P3 just because that extra range from Kinetic Blast to keep Kerrigan safe. You can kill props with non-P3 Kerrigan, but it is risky business. So for like P0 or P1, you'd Leaping Strike against the prop, and then after that use Psionic Lash or Psionic Slide to get away from the
Psionic
prop
Shift.
before it can Psionic Shift. Sorry, thank you. Psionic Shift to get away before it can poop on you.
All right.
I've seen it done with P2 where they start pre-charging the Fury, and then they Psionic Shift away from the prop and let the lightning strike it, and then at full charge that usually deals with it.
What I've been told is to cue the leap and the psionic shift at the same time. Like you select leap on the poop and then cue shift away from the poop, just so it's just so you move kind of immediately before the poop's able to react. If the poop's low enough health.
No, the key is the prop cannot be looking at Kerrigan.
Yeah.
So the prop must be going after something
Yeah,
even
something
from
like
an
that.
angle. Because if the prop is looking at Kerrigan, it will get the prop will kill you.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, both of you agree with D. Let's put him in D. I wouldn't recommend the prestige here. If you choose Kerrigan, despite knowing that she's D, the prestige is kind of on you at this point. Nova, where do we have him?
Nova, she has pretty good ways of dealing. I mean, she has a lot of firepower, so she can deal with Propagators as they come in with siege tanks, liberators, siege tanks with their spider mines. Pretty much, it's a Propagator no-go zone. You can go with P1 or I would recommend P1, but you can go with P3. That way you can send Nova in to go for the very further Void Rifts. Not the most effective way just due to how Sabotage drone, but I mean, you got airstrikes. So it is a way to do it. But with P1, you're going to be able to have much more coverage of liberators, siege tanks, and just it's setting up map domination in a sense. A to B.
Okay, how about you, Twotuuu?
Let's see. So Nova against Void Rifts is tough because you need hit squads, and the hit squads, if they're not placed in good positions, they might get eaten. Or if you don't look at them. The good thing about her hit squads is that her hit squads are banshees and they're cloaked. So you can pretty much just right click a rift and then go back to a safe zone. Whereas Alarak's destroyers, they gotta sometimes fight the marines or something that pop out.
Yeah.
I think P3 in general is better against Void Rifts than P1 because being able to just walk towards far rifts and you can also walk to far spots, then drop a pair of banshees.
That works too.
Yeah, that works as well.
Really
and then you defend with Hellbats, Marines, tanks, and Liberators. Against props, it's basically tank Liberator. With that said, though, I don't think she's very good against Void Rifts because it requires a lot of work. So I put her in C.
Okay. Are you okay with C, Eveling?
I'm okay with C. It is as very on point. She requires a lot of work.
Okay, put him in C. Prestige-wise, third prestige pretty good. First prestige can work. Yeah, it can work. You can get more liberators or tanks.
And
Both are
Ravens.
fine. And Ravens, both are fine. Stukov, where do we have him?
Speaking of,
Oh, Stukov. See, Lord of the Horde is not the way. You don't use Lord of the Horde against
Not the
Void Rifts
way.
anyways. You shouldn't. But then with props, you definitely don't. And with that means you use Diamondbacks. And Diamondbacks are actually pretty good. Diamondbacks are pretty good against props and pretty good against Void Rifts. And you can mass tanks. The problem with Stukov is that, one, he has trouble against the early rifts, and two, he has trouble against far rifts. Far rifts, you need banshees. You just need banshees, or you have to clear from the front and eventually hold it with Diamondbacks, which might take a while because some of the encampments are pretty fortified, especially the far right one and the northern ones and the bottom right. Those are really fortified. And your Alexander is pretty useless.
Yes.
So
Also the
with props around.
infrastructure. The infrastructure, depending on where.
Also useless.
Yeah.
So He's like, so against like the close rifts, really easy. Against the far rifts, really bad. And against props, decent. So I put him in C.
Woohoo! Better than Step Boy. This is gonna be interesting. What do you think, Eveling?
Yeah. Originally I had Stepman from A to B. I had Stukov from B to C. So kind of lines up with being lower tier, but that got changed around. Key one is going to be your way to getting early game power and control of the map. Banshees to sneak through to the far rifts. I wouldn't say Alexander is not useful. Alexander is useful, especially if there's, again, a lot of dead space on the unpathable space on the map. If you can just get vision, have Alexander come down, and then you can fly him toward a further rift. So kind of like a ghetto Hyperion in some sense. And then, Alexander will be able to take out those far rifts. It's very durable and chunky. And if what it shoots out, its eggs doesn't take care of the rift, make sure you put the Alexander over the rift, because it's gonna come crashing down and that'll kill the rift.
That's not the problem. That's not the problem with the Alexander. Even when the Alexander crashes, it still spawns eggs and civilians, which can all get pooped.
Yeah, it can all get pooped, but poops are in one place, void rifts are in another place.
It's active for a very long time, like 1.5 minutes, which is the window, especially the late game when more poops spawn.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a tougher and tougher sell to use Alexander.
Alexander's not useless, but it's risky.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
just if a poop is on the other side of the map, then go ahead, go after it. If they're coinciding, hold off on that. Don't put points into spawn broodlings or your infest structure. Put it all into your volatile infested chats. No.
Isn't that only from the compound?
Yeah, it's only from the compound.
No, it applies to Alexander too.
Oh,
yeah.
I do want to say that not putting points, like, just because there are props doesn't mean you don't use infest structure. It's just, again, you gotta be careful.
Be very mindful
of it. Save your base.
Be more judicious.
Like when you're being attacked and stuff.
And also, when you're dead anyway, might as well use it to make it more funny. Okay, so letter B to C.
I said, I have them Stukov for B to C.
Okay. So both of you are okay with C, so let's put them in C. Prestige-wise, do not use the third one. Not because of poops, but because of rifts. It's bad against rifts. Use the first prestige. Swann, where do we have him?
Swann, he has really good static defense against propagators and void rifts.
Yeah.
So I recommend using P2, so that allows you to get that foothold so that you can keep your base from being overrun from the trickles, and then get your upgrades for your laser drill up. So once you get your concentrated beam, that's pretty much that will kill a rift, and pretty much it'll kill everything in between that rift and beyond. So even if the rift, most likely when you use it, the rift will be in a place, it doesn't matter. It's going to kill more than just the rift.
Okay.
After you do that, then try to get a Hercules out. Again, void rifts, if once you see them spawn, there's a chance they're gonna respawn in the same area again. So establishing that map control, get a Hercules, load up SCVs, and once that rift is taken care of, drop your SCVs and build blaster abilities in that area, and probably like 3 or 4 would be good.
Or you can salvage
if the rift spawns again.
You can salvage it and rebuild when you need to.
You can. It comes down to map control. So if it's an area that is most likely the rift is going to respawn again, might as well keep them there.
Yeah, I guess. If it can take care of poops, then it'll alleviate the worry on your base. So yeah, I guess that works.
Exactly.
Letter?
So A to B.
Okay. How about you, Twotuuu?
I think the P1 route is better. The P1 eventually getting wraiths. So for rifts, see, one of the common misconceptions is that, like, if you leave a rift alone, you're gonna die. That's not true, especially if you are Swann, because your defenses are so strong. They're gonna go to your natural, and you're gonna be ready, waiting for them. So, like, if you don't kill a rift, you just wait till the wave spawns 30 seconds after the rift spawns, and then you teleport a Herc, and you drill it down, and then you teleport to another one, and then you drill it down. So you let the trickles come to your base, and then your extra slow. You're slow on P1. Helps you deal with props even more easily.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry, or you worry even less. And then
the blaster abilities
eventually
also
you get
slow down.
wraiths. You get mass wraiths.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to build static defense against the Mobius hybrid.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have something to do. So you have something to fight the Mobius hybrid with besides warbots and laser drill.
The latter.
So I still put Swann in B though, because work.
He's
And
Buan.
some enemy comps wreck. Some
That's
enemy
true.
comps wreck turrets.
But yeah, Swann is built different. That's why it's B. B for built different. Let's put him in B. Prestige-wise, we recommend the first one? Or do you have any other prestige recommendations?
Both are fine. I think one
Both are
or
fine?
two are both fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tychus, S. Let's move on. No. Tychus, where do I have him?
Tychus is S because he can control rifts. If you don't kill a rift, you can fight your way to the rift and you suffer little loss, or probably no loss. You just lose HP. And then for since a lot of people are going to use Tychus, I'll explain what I did, which is you put Tychus on pushing duty, Sirius in the center. So if you dump like 5 turrets, you can kill a prop. Like they can't get through with low move buff. Sam hangs out in the north because some props come from the north or the right side, and you can use the stun. Nux and Vega one takes the left side, one takes the south side, in the area like near the main. And then so any far rifts like Tychus will fight his way there, and then Sam can get it, and then Sirius defends the center. Basically, that's it. So he's an S.
Yeah, Tychus is in fact an S. What do you think, Eveling?
So just hot take. I have for this mutation. I have no one in S. So
that's also fair. That's also fair.
Yeah, I have Tychus from A to B. Prestige 2, I mean, that's the prestige that is well known for, if played correctly, having outlaws in specific zones. Definitely don't be getting Blaze or you could try Cannonball for this, but I wouldn't suggest it. It would be kind of treating Cannonball similar to that of Alexander. He's a risk. But if you know that there's no propagators in the area and there's a void rift, you can just kind of click Cannonball to go kill the rift, and he will do so. And
he will do it.
He pretty much he will get out alive. But yeah, Sam, just be mindful of where you have Sam. If you're using your medevac platform way too much and Sam is out of position to deal with a propagator, you can still do it with Tychus and Sirius, but just be careful. Losing one outlaw can be detrimental, especially as it gets further into the game, and you could use multiple outlaws because just so many things happening at one time. Tychus has always, P2 has been the skill check of multitasking, and these set of mutators compounded more. But yeah, he's still pretty damn good. So A to B.
Okay, Twotuuu, are you gonna make a case for S? Because if it's not Yam, it's not S. So you'll have to convince Eveling.
He's gonna be top of A no matter. He's gonna be the top of the list no matter what.
No matter what.
But for him, it's just like you can fight any enemy, like the map doesn't matter. Like even if it's a spawner, you can fight him, and Sam will kill the Mobius hybrid super fast. So
if I were to go ahead.
What was that? Go ahead.
If I were to make an argument about Tychus being an S, I mean it's up to you guys. But if I were to make an argument about Tychus being an S, it's just that he is the only commander out of all 18 that I am confident going to the solo queue with on this mutation and expecting a win. All the other ones, even the guys in A, Abathur, Arcturus, Dehaka, and I'm not confident with going with them on the solo queue. Tychus I am. Like, no matter what ally I get, as long as he's another griefer, I'm confident in beating this. Famous last words. Famous last words. As Tychus on the solo queue. That he's the only one, no one else. Not even Zeratul, not even Zagara. I think he's that good because he just stabilizes things so much. Against the early rifts, Tychus and Sirius, there are 2 of them. They can handle things just fine for the first 6 rifts or the first 3 rift spawns. On the 4th one, the 821, you'll have Kirk and Sam out, and by then you can take care of the close ones, and then where the far ones, you can kind of just put an outlaw between your base and the far rift and just kind of intercept the trickles coming to your base, and you'll be fine with any help from any help from your ally. I don't see him losing this game or this mutation. That's why I think he's S.
My counterpoint to that is there is a good chance of him losing the game if he's not careful with Sirius. So starting off, Sirius's turrets are good, but
Seriously
if there's an attack wave or trickles coming in and a propagator is nearby, you need to double click on those turrets to have them all focus on the prop. If you don't, then
you will
lose.
lose.
That could end the game right then and there.
That's fair. Okay, so if you're not convinced that he's S, it's not S because you need to be unanimous. So it's not unanimous, therefore it's not S. Let's put Tychus in A. Let's move on. Vorazun, where do we have him?
Vorazun, she is definitely not the best in early game, and it's kind of a crapshoot dealing with the first propagator too. We've all seen CTG's video of Loco pretty much losing all his shadow guard to a single propagator. I mean, granted, there was some degree of control that he didn't have, but that is a possibility.
That was that one was the 2v2, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, continue.
But Vorazun does have good ways of controlling propagators with a black hole, but you can't be using it all the time. Time stop is really great because it puts everything on freeze, and if you have a far rift, it allows you the chance to get to it. I say chance because it's not guaranteed, especially how far it can be.
Sometimes it's just too far.
Yeah.
Or there's a poop in the way.
Much. It's gonna come down to a lot of RNG for her, but if she can get established, then she has tools to kind of deal with it, but it's gonna be real messy. I have her from D to E.
D to E. How about you, Twotuuu?
Oh, she is very bad. So against the first rifts, her answer is Dark Pylon Wall and then waiting for 3 minutes before you can do anything. But if you Dark Pylon Wall, you're gonna have to deal with the. You can Dark Pylon Wall your own base, but then your ally will have nothing at all. And then the first prop, you basically need to Shadow Fury, walk back, and then let cooldown. Wait for the cooldown, and then Shadow Fury again. That's how you deal with it. You don't want to use black holes and stuff. Later on, your defense is Stasis Ward plus cannons, but that's if you get to that point. It's gonna be hard to get to that point. Yeah. Fighting props in the mid game is kind of hard. I put Vorazun in D.
I thought it was gonna be
Kerrigan.
All right, both of you are okay with D. Let's put him in D. Vorazun only has 1 prestige. Shadow or Keeper of Shadows. Zagara, where do we have him?
So Zagara, she has Deep Tunnel. That's good. She has Free Banes.
Also good.
The problem with Free Banes is that in the late game, when they come from like 4 at a time, you won't have enough unless like you're gonna start running out, especially if you need to use the Banes on enemy like attack waves, which you might need that. And and if you're not careful with your Zerglings, you cannot, or you might cause a poop train.
That you'll have to take care of.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna need to this map is huge, so you probably need some control groups of Zerglings to control rifts, because Zagara cannot be everywhere. If you want to control rifts effectively, you're gonna need control groups, which might be hard.
It is hard.
And
what I did is
spread creep.
That's what I did. No, I did spread creep, but not that far that it reaches into the enemy base. I cleared a whole area of the map first before I started spreading creep in that direction, because I know that if the poop touches the creep, it's basically over. So what I did is I used a sort of creep. Well, it's not even. I wouldn't even say it's good creep, for just enough to kind of give my Zerglings a little bit of boost to get from one point to another point, but not really a full creep highway end to end. No, I don't think it's that. You could call it that. But yes, that's what I did to kind of speed up my Zerglings to get from point A to point B.
Oh yeah. Anyways, I put Zagara in B.
B. Okay. How about you, Eviling?
Yeah, I have Zagara from A to B. Looking at Abathur, half a Brutalist is pretty damn good for clearing out Void Rifts.
It is pretty good.
So that ability just to get to the far ones if need to, and then essentially summon an army on it.
Yeah. Roach drop.
Yeah,
pretty good.
And then regarding defending your expansion and base, just for the sake of it, bio launchers are definitely a good means to do it. And it's bio launchers and then padded with spore and spine crawlers.
Okay.
Yeah, A to B.
Both of you said B, so let's put it in B. Zagara, I think you want to use the third prestige, your Apex Predator. You want the half a Brutalisk. Very important in dealing with rifts. Zeratul, what do we have?
Zeratul, this one, I would recommend P3 just so that, I mean, your stock Zeratul, he can get pooped. So spin to win is less likely he can get pooped because you send it out, let Tornado do his thing and run away, and just send another Tornado and run away, and poop should die. He has his Void Seeker, so if you really need to go after a deep Void Rift, Void Seeker to it, spin to win it, and then if you need that extra firepower, call down a Legion. I would not recommend any other Legion other than Zoraya for this, just because they're a flying unit, and if a poop comes out in the wrong place, you have the chance to redirect Zoraya to unpathable area or a place where the poop has to navigate around, and you just kind of bounce Zoraya back and forth so that the poop can't get it, which is not a bad thing to waste the poop's time. But and the other aspect that's good for Zeratul, the suppression monoliths. I mean the monoliths, they stun.
Yeah.
So that
Tesseract monoliths.
That's really good for putting a halt to the poops. And then later on, once you have enough minerals, cannon's good.
Okay, letter?
A to B.
A to B. What do you think, Twotuuu?
I do not recommend P3 because the third fragment is just so good for
vision
for Void Rifts in general. Because you're gonna want an ambusher army, and then in the late game, you're gonna have cannons and abrogators at your natural. Just like 4 abrogators, and just a bunch of cannons with monoliths. And when you have like 6 fragments, they deal a ton of damage. So
several tons.
Yeah, and then your army is going to be ambushers.
Triple
So
blink.
Zeratul is not going to be the main damage dealer. Well, he can lead the charge, but then if a prop comes, he just kind of hides
away
behind the ambushers. Yeah, and then
Fair enough.
And then prop is gone. Okay, you blink like 3 times, and then the props disappear, and then you continue fighting.
Yeah.
I put Zeratul in A.
Okay, both of you agree with A?
Yeah.
Okay, let's put them in A.
So you're recommending P2 or P0?
Yes. P2 or P0. Both.
Yes.
Either one, just not P3.
Inclusive or. There we go. All right. So let's go into the rankings. Who's top of A?
Tychus.
Oh yeah, Tychus. Oh yeah, that's true. Tychus top of A.
Yep.
He really should be S. But who's second in A?
Zeratul.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Zeratul, sure. Who's next?
Abathur.
Abathur. Yeah. Then Dehaka.
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 Then Han and Horner.
Yes.
Then Arcturus.
Yeah, Han
Yeah.
yeah.
I would prefer Han and Horde over Arcturus.
For this one, yeah.
Yes.
They seem just more suited to this kind of mutation.
Yep.
Arcturus is better overall, more well-rounded, but for this one, you need specialization against rifts. Karax. Oh wait, who's top of B?
Zagara.
Oh yeah, Zagara.
Yep,
I did use Zagara. I didn't play particularly well as Zagara. I missed some poops, but she can recover pretty well, as long as it doesn't scale too far out of proportion. And then Karax.
Swann.
Oh, Swann. Okay.
Swann
and
for
Karax. Okay. Who's top of C?
Nova.
Then
Alarak.
Nova, Alarak, then
Artanis.
Okay.
Artanis or Phoenix? I think Artanis is safer.
Okay.
Yes.
Then
Agreed.
Phoenix,
Phoenix.
then Stukov. Who's top of D? Stat boy.
Statman.
Yeah. Then Raynor, then Vorazun.
Raynor and Vorazun.
All right. Then Kerrigan's the bottom. At least she's the top of V. So there she has that. So,
Top.
do we have any combinations, synergies of B tier commanders and below who would be an S if they teamed up? I mean, aside from Zagara and Swann, that's so obvious. Zagara and Karax too, obvious S if they teamed up.
I think Karax and Raynor.
Karax and Raynor? Actually,
Yeah.
Karax and Raynor? I
Scan.
guess.
Scan for far rifts.
I think they might just be A if they teamed up.
Okay.
Borderline, because Tychus is really strong. Basically, I'm asking myself, will these two be better than Tychus on his own?
Yeah, if Tychus is the metric for S, then no, there's no combination.
Then why isn't Tychus S? Oh my gosh.
Points I made earlier.
I'm thinking Zagara and Swann would definitely be S if they teamed up, because Swann can handle because Zagara can wipe easily anything that she touches, and Swann is basically just residual. Anything else that comes to the base, Swann can clean it up easily. That's why I think they're S together. Same with Karax and Zagara. Anything residual that Zagara, that passes through Zagara, that slips through Zagara, Karax can take care of easily. That's my logic there. Zagara and Stukov? No, they're probably just
I don't
A.
feel the synergy on that.
Yeah, they're probably just
Stukov
A.
is still a liability, huge liability.
Yeah. Well, how about the classic combination of Zagara and Artanis? No prestige. So you have Garden Shell Zerglings.
Not against props though.
Not against poops. Yeah, that's true. You're right. Nova and Swann? Just Nova using third prestige, clear
So
continuously.
all of these involve a B commander.
Yeah, kind of. That's why they're B.
Yep.
That's why they're B. Alright, those are, I think, the good combinations of commanders. Actually, Alarak's pretty good in the early game with the mothership. Combine Alarak with someone.
Alarak's problem is the far rifts.
Yeah, the forest. So who can take care? Well,
And props.
that's Zagara then. That's Zagara then. Oh my goodness. Okay, basically Zagara plus someone would be an S. Yeah, guys, watch Twotuu's channel. I will link it down below. And I'll see you guys next time.